But today we're going to be talking about crystals. So maybe this is something that you use yourself or have thought about using. And so today we're going to learn a little bit more about that. So thank you, Kaye, for being here today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Kaye. I've got a holistic wellness business called Amethyst Yoga and Healing. I'm a yoga teacher and a yoga therapist, also a holistic counselor, a Reiki master, and what's called a transpersonal crystal healing practitioner, which means I do crystal healing work that also brings in elements of holistic counseling and also elements from meditation, visualization as well.
Excellent. Well, you've got quite a lot of tools there. So I'd love to know how you got into crystals.
Well, strangely enough, it's actually started with a two-timing Canadian. And I was dating this Canadian who, cheated on me with, anyway, I decided I wasn't going to go visit him in Canada for obvious reasons and embraced kind of the yoga girl cliche and took my yoga mat and went up to Byron. And a friend said, yeah, let's go to the Crystal Castle. And I thought, pretty rocks, that'll be great. And I'd been a weird child who collected rocks, but, I'd sort of eventually discovered Barbie and grown out of that. But I'd never really been interested in crystals. So my friend takes me to the Crystal Castle and I see these sort of, ginormous amethyst geodes. And I'm thinking, pretty rocks, this will be fun, lovely, that'd be great. That's not what happened. I sort of was walking up to these stones and I felt this like it's like this energy coming at me and I was like and then I go to like the rose quartz and it'd be kind of, and I'm thinking, oh great, my love life's a mess and now rocks are talking to me, this is just fantastic. But it was a really powerful kind of experience. And I went away from spending time with these rather extraordinary stones. And I thought, well, I can pretend that didn't happen and go on with my life like a normal person, or I can lean in and find out what this all means. And so I eventually found myself, reading more and more about crystals, eventually doing a number of qualifications, eventually becoming a level 2 transpersonal crystal healing practitioner with Evolve Healing. And, really finding that this enriched my life and sort of connecting with stones has been wonderful, not just for me, but I've seen sort of powerful supportive effects for my clients as well.
Wow, it's amazing that you had such a strong reaction. I mean, I love Crystal Castle. I've been there a number of times, but I've never had anything like that. I wonder if it's got anything with to do with you being a musician, like the vibrations, do you think, or just...
Yeah, I think it could do. I think, and also, I mean, as much as I sort of joke about the background, I think I was in a very kind of, I guess, raw sort of a space as well. So there probably would have been less of my mind kind of filtering what I was feeling than I normally would, would have. My mask was a little bit off center, as it were, and I think that helped as well. I suspect the vibrational acts, the vibrational aspect is certainly a part. And also, I've been practicing yoga for longer than I care to admit. And I certainly have noticed over the years that as the practice deepened, and I'm sure a lot of the teachers that are watching this will have found that you might not have known about chakras to start with, but once you've been practicing for a while, you're certainly feeling them. And so I suspect that may have played a part as well.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's great. What a great story. You're a great storyteller. Very funny.
Thank you.
Even though it's not funny, you made it funny. So how do you use these crystals in your work?
Sure. So as in crystal healing practice, there's a number of ways I use them. So often, like, clients will either come here or I can do things online. I've got a lovely massage table and a fluffy blankie for people. And, I just talk about where people are at. And, a simple a simple session might be simply them lying, and if it's just about balancing, then I might use stones that are sort of associated with each of the chakras and placing them, I mean, you're fully clothed, but placing them in the relevant sort of chakra points on the body, you know, encouraging them to talk to each other and to sort of balance out the energy and have it flow freely. Or if the client has a specific issue, then I might choose stones that are relevant to that kind of issue. If they're feeling ungrounded, I might choose stones that are associated with kind of grounding and protection. If they're on a, you know, on a sort of a spiritual journey and wanting insight, I will still use grounding stones, but we'll also use stones that, you know, might help with, you know, intuition or with insight or with clarity. So based on what the clients tell me, and then, you know, bringing them into a relaxed state as well. We might use some visualizations and meditations with the stones as well, or just let the stones do the work. So that's kind of crystal healing practice. I also, you know, I can do that for people online as well. And as I expect, you know, I bring the stones into classes, into my yoga as well. And I also use them for myself to support me.
Yeah, beautiful. So where does this, it's not a yogic practice. So tell us where this comes from and how it works with yoga, in your opinion.
Yeah, sure. So I'm yeah, and I do like to be really clear that this isn't, you know, I haven't found a passage of the Yoga Sutras that talks about crystal healing that no one else has noticed. I'm, you know, really clear about that. And so there's no reason for a yoga teacher to use crystals unless you're personally drawn to them, in the same way that we might use, you know, an understanding of science or from other philosophies in our practices as well. But in classes, I, you know, certainly if I've got a class theme for the week, I might bring a stone to resonate with that. So for this week, my classes, both the yin and the yang kind of thing, have been looking at the fire element. So I've brought along my trusty fire quartz to have near my mat to kind of support the energy of the practice. And that's, you know, energetic support, but also just a reminder, okay, this is what I'm about today. So it's an energetic support and kind of a mnemonic in a way. And I also, you know, if I'm doing a workshop, I will actually turn the room into a crystal grid. So I will have, you know, sort of clear quartz at sort of at compass points and in between, and stones around the room that are supporting the theme of the class as well, of the workshop. And, you know, might have a little mandala near me, and getting them all the crystals to talk to each other before class, just to support the energy of what the workshop is about. And I'll often also give, you know, workshop participants a stone as a gift, just to help them, you know, to hold that energy with them. And you know, who doesn't like a pretty rock, basically, is where that's at. But and to look after me too. So if I know that I'm in a space where I'm feeling a little bit ungrounded, or I'm feeling like I need some kind of support, usually I'll be wearing stones that, you know, my medicine are for me. I always wear really grounding stones when I'm doing energy work, whether that's the crystal healing or the reiki, just because I found I was wearing all these high vibration stones when I first started practicing, and I was off with the pixies. It was ridiculous. So, you know, looking after myself, but also remembering my kind of medicine, what I'm sort of focusing on, not just in the practice that I'm sharing with the people in the room, but, you know, in my own personal practice as well.
Oh, great. Thanks for sharing that. So I'm just wondering if yoga teachers did want to sort of start working with crystals, but they might, you know, they might be like me. They might have crystals and wear crystals, but they don't really know enough about it. Maybe they feel a little bit of imposter syndrome. What would be like a nice way to just sort of ease yourself in and just have a little bit of a go and see, you know, whether it was for them or not, for example?
Yeah, sure. And I think yoga teachers and people who've been practicing yoga for quite some time do have kind of an inside lane to learning about crystals, because we have learnt about chakras. And irrespective of how you feel about all the different arguments that are out there about how many chakras are there, what do they have colors, do they not have colors, if you put all that aside and think, yeah, they have colors and there's about 7 of them, then we kind of already know the colors that are going to be associated with each chakra. So for example, if you're dealing with a kind of a manipura solar plexus chakra issue, personal power or something, you might want to grab yourself some yellow stones, such as citrine, yellow jasper, bumblebee jasper are really great for that. If you really wanted to sort of go a little bit deeper, there's some wonderful, wonderful books out there. And in particular, my teacher, Kate Mantello, who's Australian, wrote recently called Rock On, which is as pragmatic as it sounds in terms of introducing you to crystal healing practice. But just if you go into a store and you see a stone and it's kind of talking to you, then it might have something to say. And one of the best ways to really start working with crystals is to have a conversation with the rock, as it were. And I love to meditate with my crystals. I'm a strange, I tend to put stones in the arches of my feet as I'm sitting in meditation. And certainly, obviously, if you're a Vipassana practitioner or something, then that's going to be an enhancement discipline, and it may not be what you want to do. But if that is in alignment with how you meditate, then that can be a lovely support for your meditation. But it's also a great way to get to know your stone and to find out why you were drawn to it, what it has to tell you, and how it might support you as well.
Yeah, I've certainly found meditation with holding a crystal a very powerful thing. Definitely gets you on that deeper level faster, I think. So yeah, that's great. All right, so tell us where people can contact you if they want to work with you, with your Reiki or anything else that you offer on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, thanks. So I have a website. It's Amethyst Yoga and Healing. So that's amethystyogaandhealing.com.au. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram as Amethyst Yoga and Healing. So I'd love to get in touch with more.
Thank you for your time, Kaye. And I really recommend that you follow Kaye on Instagram. I'm one of her followers because she gives a lot of information, not just about crystals, but also about moon cycles. And yeah, it's very interesting. And she's a great writer. And I believe she's going to be writing a book. So we might hear from her here again in the future. So thanks, Kaye. Have a lovely weekend. And thanks so much for your expertise.
Thanks for having me.